Let's go to page 133 in grammar. We're going to start there. Let me zoom out a little bit. It's a short lesson. Look at that. Easy peasy. We're talking about numbers today. So basically with numbers, there's a little rule about numbers when you're writing a paper or essay. You're going to spell out numbers that can be expressed in one or two words, like 12 and 100. So look at the word 12. You can write it in one word, TWELVE, that's 12. And then like 100 is expressed in two words, one and then 100. So in writing, it's best to write out the number words when it can be expressed in one or two words. But if you have like the date 2026, you're not going to write out 2026. You're going to write just 2026. So if it's a big number like a year or a big number like in the thousands, you're just going to write out the numerals, the digits, okay? Use a hyphen with numbers from 21 to 99. So look at this number right here, 21. It's 20, TWENTY dash ONE. So that's a dash is also called a hyphen. So that's how you write out numbers like that. Any number between 21 and 99. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, all of those you're going to use a dash. Okay. And then it says also spell out ordinal numbers like first and second and third and fourth and fifth and this. You know how in our keyword outline, sometimes we write it a short way. We put like for first, we could put one and then an ST by it. That's okay in an outline, but when you're actually writing a paragraph, you want to spell it out, FIRST. So in this book, in your grammar book, they're going to make mistakes on purpose just for you guys. Yay! And you got to look for those mistakes. Now you're going to be looking for numbers that are ordinal numbers or they are like numerals. Numerals meaning the actual number, 1, 2, 3. You're going to look for those. You're going to draw a line through it, like they show you here in this example, and then write the word above it. So it says the second soldier ate 3 of the 25 apples. So they had all the numbers, the numerals in there, and you're going to draw a line through it and just write out the word above it. Second, 3, THREE, and then 25 has a hyphen, 20-5, FIVE. That's pretty much it. Pretty easy peasy. So watch out for those numbers in your grammar book. And then when you're, writing your essays for me or your papers, try to remember that rule in the writing too. Do you guys have any questions about numbers on this? Okay. Page 135. How about, oh, I see a hand. Yes, Genevieve.
Now, when we're writing our papers, are we allowed to do the numbers as long as we include the hyphen?
When you're writing your
Like,
papers, you're going to follow the same rules. So if you can express a number in one or two words like that, then you're going to write out the words. Does that make sense?
okay, so like 22, you do 20 hyphen 2.
Yeah, exactly. You would write out the word with a hyphen.
Yeah, not numbers, not actual.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Good question. How about Amber read the sentences today?
The dwarf told him, "You must go to the princess and get her to consume 9 or 10 apples."
Okay, good. We already see numbers, so we're going to fix those. But do you see the word consume? That's our vocabulary word, and that means to eat. We already know that. It's to consume. To consume. Consume by itself would be a verb, but since we have to consume, that's an infinitive. We find these every once in a while in the book. When we see an infinitive, it doesn't function as a verb in the sentence, so we're not going to label it with a V, okay? This is just going to be, we're going to leave it blank, to consume. But that's the vocabulary word. Let's fix the numbers first. So Anthony, what do we do with the numbers here?
Um, you just spell it out ninth and tenth.
So how do you spell 9?
Nine.
Good.
Or
And
it's yeah, and then TH.
no, not H for 10.
Oh, I thought you meant ninth.
Oh, no, we're just going to do 9. 9 or 10
Oh, okay.
apples. Yeah.
So NINE for ninth, and then for tenth, TENTH.
I don't know why you're saying 10th because we don't need it. We don't need the TH because it wouldn't make sense to say 9th or 10th apples. It's basically she's getting her to consume 9 or 10. That's a lot of apples. 9 apples or
Oh,
10
okay,
apples.
okay.
Yeah,
No
yeah, yeah, yeah.
worries.
So we just
Uh,
need NINE and then TEN. That's correct. Um, yeah, I don't know about you, but I can hardly eat one whole apple sometimes. I can't even imagine eating 9 or 10. Remember, that her nose was growing. They're trying to fix the problem now. Anyway, so those are the numbers right here. 2 articles, go ahead and find those by yourself. And then how about Genevieve? I know you don't have your book, but if you could see the screen, where are the 2 nouns? Oh, I see your hand too. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, I have my hand up because I got my book, the one with the cheese on it, the country mouse and the city mouse
Oh.
already.
Oh, you already got it for this
Yeah,
year? Oh, okay, good.
and I kind of already read the story.
Uh-oh. Okay, don't spoil it.
I won't.
It's a
But
good
what am
one.
I looking for?
You're gonna look for 3 nouns.
Okay, dwarf,
Good.
apples,
Yep.
and princess.
Good. Princess. You got it. Amber, what about the pronouns?
Him,
Good.
her,
Good.
um, you.
Good. And Anthony, did you notice that word to is the wrong one? You must go to the princess.
oh yeah.
Okay, so how should we spell that word?
TO.
T-O. Yep, I needed to fix that. That was bugging me. So there's that. Okay, and then you got the pronouns. How about Anthony, you do the adjectives?
Um. Uh. 9 or 10.
Good. Perfect. Yep. 9 ADJ for adjective, 10 ADJ. How about Genevieve, the coordinating conjunctions? There's 2.
Okay, let's see. Okay, is it
Remember, those are the fanboys words. You remember the
yeah.
fanboys?
Okay. And
Good. It's 1.
oh, or.
There you go. It's hiding right there. Or, good. And an or, good job. How about moving on to verbs next? So Amber, you find the verbs, and then Anthony, you can tell us what the subjects are.
Um.
Wait, let me let Amber go first. So verbs first.
Told
Good.
and must.
Good.
Mm, Is there more or
There's two more actually. One near must.
go?
Go is a verb, and then there's one more verb, and it's not consume.
Get.
We already talked about that one.
Get?
Yes, get. Sorry, I didn't know if you said that. Good. All right. So now, Anthony, there's two subjects.
The dwarf,
Yes, the dwarf is one subject.
and then you.
Good. That's it. Nice. You must go. And then what about that prepositional phrase? Do you see it, Genevieve?
Is there 9 or 10 apples?
No. It's got to start with a preposition, and nine is an
Oh,
adjective. So it's going to be a word that we don't necessarily have labeled yet, but it's not to consume. But we have this two over here that we fixed the spelling of.
to
So
the princess.
yes, to the princess. Very good. To the princess is your prepositional phrase. There's no verbs in there. All right. End mark. That's just a period. And then you guys can find the capitals. It's the, and then don't forget about you inside a quotation, a quote. The first word of a quote is always capitalized because you treat it like a sentence. The first word of a sentence. Okay, so you is going to be capitalized. And then that's it. We got it. Any questions about this page? No? Okay.
Nope.
All right. So you guys wrote last week a fun story. I'm pretty sure you guys wrote about the overdressed children. Did you get to finish that?
I have to organize my binder, so I haven't written it yet.
Okay.
But I have my keyword outline.
Okay.
And I have a question about the blank piece of paper that we make story.
Okay.
How we're
Yeah.
boxing, you have to draw it. Um, so does it have to still be on the same subject as overdressed children, or can it be like anything?
It can be anything.
Okay, I kind of like wasn't doing that one either because I didn't know if it had to be overdressed children still.
Okay. That's okay. I just checked. It looks like none of you have had a chance to turn it in yet, but I know it sounds like Anthony, you sound like you have yours done. But
Oh yeah.
let's wait to share it. But I do want you guys to turn it in as soon as possible because we're going to keep going and I don't want you to get too far behind. Okay. But on that note, we are going to take a little break from the binder for the next few weeks because we're going to practice for the state test. So, yay, pause from binder, but state test. So, a little bit of emotions going back and forth. It's okay. So, every year, every student in the state of California has to take a state test. Students in third grade through 12th grade. So I think some of you, this might be the first time you take it. Maybe some of you have taken it before. And it is required for all students to take the test, even if you're homeschool or private school or whatever. So, and it's true in every other state in the United States too. Like other states have to do the same thing. So basically what it is to check your learning. But let me tell you this, it does not determine whether you move on to the next grade or whether you know enough about the grade that you're in. So don't worry about those things because you're still going to move on to the next grade. You're still going to move up. Okay. The test is just for the state to record how students are doing in the state of California. So you have to do it, and we want you, I know your parents want you to do your best on it, but don't stress over it. Don't worry about it. You're going to do your best, get it done, and then move on with your life. Okay. That's how we handle these big tests. And the other thing I want to remind you is that the test is going to be online And I'm not going to give you the test. Your HST will give you the test. So I think all of you guys, yep, all three of you are with Heartland. And your HST will schedule that for you. And I see a note in the chat. I think it's going to be in April. Some students are doing it in March, like the end of March. But it's between March and April is when you're going to take the test. And I hate testing too. So I feel you, Genevieve. When I was a kid, I used to get like the worst stomach ache on test taking days. But it's this is not that bad, okay? So try to get your head out of that stress mode because you're just going to go into it and do the best you can. So here's the thing, there's two parts, math and language arts. There's just two parts to the test, okay? In those two parts of the test,
What
say that again.
what subjects? What in language?
Math and language arts. Language arts means reading and writing, basically, okay? So in those two tests, you've got reading and writing for the language arts, and then the math has two little parts too. I am going to help you with the writing part because I'm your writing teacher, and I'm going to help you get ready for that so you know what to do going into the writing part of the test, okay? So the first thing I want you to do, though, is get out two pieces of lined paper. Hopefully you have lined paper with you, Genevieve. Do you have any paper? You guys need two pieces of lined paper. And a pen or a pencil. You got this. This is not that hard because you're going to use the skills that you already know for writing to help you on the test. So you're going to find out it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. When you have your appointment with your HST, and it comes to the day where you're going to do the test, you are allowed blank paper. We call this scratch paper. You can use it in math too to work out your problems and stuff, but you can also use scratch paper for your writing part of the test. That's why this is all you get. You don't get a dictionary or a calculator or anything else. You have to only use blank paper to help you. They want to know how much you remember in your own brain. So the first step then that I want you to do when you sit down to do the writing test, once your HST gets you all set up, you're logged in and everything, and she or he says, you may now begin the test. The first thing I want you to do is make a checklist for yourself. So go ahead and write at the top of this page here, checklist. You don't have to worry about your name and date and all that stuff because this is your notes for just you when you go to sit down to take the test for the state test. I'm just going to underline that. You're going to make your own checklist because if you can remember to put your dress ups in your writing, it's going to automatically bump up your score like by a lot. Okay, just by using those dress up words, it's going to bump up your score. So you want to make your own checklist so you have one to use. You can't use your binder during the test, so you have to create your own. So skip a line, and over here by the red line, I want you to put dress dash ups and put a line under that. I'll give you the first one. You probably remember, but I'm just going to put ly adverb. And now I want you to think about your checklist, the last one that you had. Don't look at it. Try to remember from your brain. What are all the things that you're supposed to underline for your dress ups and write down your list of types of dress ups that are on your checklist. It's okay if they're in a different order. They don't have to be in order. But see how many you can remember. Okay, let's see what you got so far. So, how about Anthony? What do you have on your list so far? What can you remember?
So far, I got the who or which clause.
Okay, good. Who, which? Amber, do you have anything else?
The because one.
Because clause, good. Genevieve, do you have any others?
I have uh the dress ups, the what adverbs, the who, which, the because, and the that clause.
And the that clause. So the that clause is not actually in our checklist, but that's a good one to use, but it's not actually on our checklist. We have strong verb. Remember that one?
Mhm.
Strong verb. And we have the newest one is quality
Oh,
adjective.
number. Oh.
Yeah, quality adjective. So, you may not remember how to spell quality when you're making your checklist. That's okay. This is not a spelling test, by the way. When you're
Oh.
doing your paragraphs, they're not going to grade your spelling. They're looking for content. Like, how are your sentences coming together? So, yeah, don't worry about spelling if you struggle with spelling, okay? Um, those are your dress ups. So hopefully you can remember those and put those down right away, right when they tell you to begin the test. The first step is to make your checklist. And I recommend on the side here, you just put 1, 2, and 3 next to where it says dress up in the margin here. Because for your test, I want you to write 3 paragraphs. And this way you can put little check marks under the 1 after you write paragraph 1, put check marks under 2, these are just notes for yourself. That's it, just notes for yourself. All right, now the next thing you're going to do on the next blank piece of paper. So get out your next paper and you're going to get prepared for your keyword outline. So that's the cool thing I want you to remember is you can use all the things that we use in class, you can use on the test. So don't worry about putting your name and date and all that. We're just going to start with Roman numeral 1. And I want you to write down 1 through 5. And clencher, because we want you to try to remember to do topic clencher. And we're just going to get Roman numeral 1 set up. But this assignment will have 3 paragraphs, but we're just going to focus on Roman numeral 1 today and see how far we get. So far, easy peasy cheesy, right? Time to take the writing test, log in, teacher says, begin test, and you go, oh, gotta write my checklist, write down your checklist, gotta start my keyword outline, get that started on the other piece of paper. Now you can start, okay? And I'm gonna show you what it looks like online. But I think Anthony and Amber, your mom printed the papers for you. Good. Okay, but I'm going to show you first what it looks like online. You'll need that for your homework. So hopefully, Genevieve, when you get back home later, somebody can print it for you. I sent it in an email to your mom, okay? Um, this is what the test looks like when you first log in. This is how it looks, okay? So I'm doing this so that you can not be as scared when you see it. You don't need to be scared. It's not that bad, okay? Your HST will help you log in. She'll tell you, he or she will tell you all the stuff you need to put in. For today, this is a practice. So I'm just going to click continue as guest. And then your HST will tell you all this stuff you need to put in. I'm just going to go through the guest session. So this is where you select your grade. For today, I'm just going to pick grade 3. Now, if you're not in grade 3, that's okay. These tests are all similar across grades. Okay, we're just going to do this as a practice so you get familiar with how it's going to look. Your HST will tell you all the things to click. And here we are to these pink boxes right here. These are the 4 tests. There's 2 of them are for language arts and 2 of them are for math. Those are the only subjects that you're going to be tested on is language arts and math. If you might be tested in, no, not in 5th grade. Nope, you're good. So ELA stands for English Language Arts. This one says practice test, and this one says ELA performance task. The performance task is the one that's your writing part of the test. So that's the one I'm going to click on. I'm going to select that. You won't hear this, but I can hear it on my end. They always check your headphones. It goes do 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 do. And that way you know your headphones are working. And then you click, I could play the sound and the video. And then your HST will tell you what you need to click. But I'm going to go down here and begin test now. This is a practice, so it's not the real thing, but it looks exactly like this. Okay, just so you know what it looks like. This is now beginning the test. On the left side of the screen, you're going to see student directions, and then you're going to see astronauts, informational, performance, task. If I scroll, you're going to see all of the articles are listed here on the side. Okay, that's all the reading part. Oh, I forgot to tell you, or maybe I already did. The test is not timed. You can take as long as you need to on the test. Now, you're with Heartland, you're going to be doing the Zoom, but the Zoom call might be only 2 hours. But if you don't finish in the 2 hours, that's okay. You'll schedule another appointment with them and you can keep going. So don't feel rushed on the test. I really want you to take your time. It's going to take a while to read everything, and it'll take a while to type it, especially if you use your pointer fingers for typing, and that's okay if you do. It's going to take a while. Everybody's got to type it, okay? Any questions so far about this test yet? Okay, let me know if you have questions. On the right side of the screen, you're going to see this blue 1 here, and then way over here to the right, you can see a blue 1 and a blue 2. There's 2 tabs here. There are 2 sections to this part of the test. So what I recommend is reading the right side of the screen first, and then finding the information on the left side of the screen here to help you answer the questions. And that way you know what you're looking for before you even start reading the sources. So it says, click on the boxes to match each source with the idea or ideas that it supports. Some ideas may have more than one source selected. So in this chart up here, I see source 1. It's called What is an Astronaut? Source number 2 is called Life in Space. This means it's like when you guys wrote about the deserts, you had one source that talked about the Sahara Desert, and you had one source that talked about the Gobi Desert. Same type of thing. You have one source that talks about what is an astronaut, and the other source that talks about life in space, okay? So you're going to look at 2 different articles or sources to get your answers. And it says right here, these are the ideas. The first one says, astronauts feel weak when they come back from space. We know that's true, but they're asking you which of the sources has that information in it? Is it source 1 or is it source 2? You don't know yet because you haven't read it yet. But think about that as you're reading, and you'll find the answer if it's in source 1 or source 2. And then the next one says, since objects are also made to float in space, astronauts can easily lift things in space that are heavy on Earth. We know that's true, but they want you to find out which article talks about that. Is it the first one or the second one? And then the last one says, astronauts have a special view of Earth from space. That's true, but which article talks about that? So I'm going to jump back over here to the left side, and you can see student directions, astronauts, informational performance task, and then it says task. And I'm just going to show you if I scroll. Do you see where it says source number 1? And then it says, what is an astronaut? That goes with this, source 1, what is an astronaut? So that is your article on the left. So if you find this information in that article, you'll click one of these boxes. See, if I keep scrolling over here, scroll past that article, here is source 2, life in space. Do you see how that matches this? Source 2, life in space. So if you find any of this information in that article, you check that box. Do you have any questions about this part right here? Okay, cool. Then there's a number 2. I'm just going to click on number 2 over here on the right. We haven't even read anything yet. I'm just showing you the setup of the test and what you want to check first before you start reading, okay? So number 2 says, explain why it is hard to be an astronaut. Give 2 reasons, one from source number 1 and one from source number 2. For each reason, include the source title or number. So this is called the short answer part of the writing test. You really only need 3 sentences here. It is not the big essay yet. Okay, that's coming. I'll show you in a second. This is called short answer. 3 sentences will be enough. 1 sentence would be, it is hard to be an astronaut, period. That's 1 sentence. And don't forget, you can use some of your checklist in there too. You could say something like, it is extremely hard to be an astronaut. Could say that. And then it says give 2 reasons. That's 2 sentences. 1 reason why it's hard to be an astronaut is, and then you go over here to source number 1 and pick out something from that source. Now you're going to put it in your own words. You're not going to copy it exactly, but you're going to put it in your own words, and you can say something like, source number 1 says that blank, whatever you want to say from source 1 to support why it's hard to be an astronaut. And then their 3rd sentence is going to be from source number 2. See, it's not that bad. I'm telling you, it's not that bad. This is short answer. This box right here, this is where you type. Obviously, you'll do words, not just gibberish like that. But I wanted to show you this is, so it would be a sentence like this. It is extremely, I might use the word difficult, to be an astronaut. In source 1, it says, and then you keep going, whatever you pick. Or you could say, 1 reason is blank from source 1. All right, you get the idea. You're just putting a few sentences here in this box. All right, so I'm going to just stop this share for a second, and I'm going to move on to, so after you fill in your 3 sentences and you've checked the boxes that go with the article that has that information, and then you click next. Let me show you my screen again. When you hit next up here at the top, this is number 3. And guess what? That's it. You have number 1, number 2, and number 3. That's it for the writing test. I know it doesn't seem like much. It's not. This is the one where you do your full essay. Number 3 is the full essay, which is going to be 3 paragraphs. If I scroll on the right, you're going to see a much bigger box here. It just keeps going. Okay, so it's a big box. And if you need more space than that, the box will extend. This is where you're going to look at, this is after you finish 1 and 2. So you've already read all the articles, you finished number 1 and number 2. Now you go on to number 3. here is where it talks about part 2. You will review your notes and sources and plan, draft, and revise and edit your writing. This is when you're going to use your keyword outline and your checklist. You may use your notes, that, and go back to the sources. Now read your assignment and the information about how your writing will be scored, then begin your work. So here's your assignment. It's really important to read this part so you know exactly what they're looking for. Your teacher is creating a bulletin board display in the school library to show what your class has learned about different types of jobs. You decide to write an informational article on astronauts. Your article will be read by other students, teachers, and parents. They're just creating a scenario for you, okay? So, informational article just means you're going to give information. You can hear the word information in there. Informational article or informational essay is information. Just like what you did for Sahara Desert, Gobi Desert, you did it for Marco Polo. You're just giving information. Using more than one source, develop a main idea about being an astronaut. Choose the most important information from the sources to support your main idea. Then write an informational article that is several paragraphs long. Yours is going to be 3. Clearly organize your article and support your main idea with details from the sources. Use your own words except when quoting directly from sources. Be sure to give sources the source title or number when using details from the sources. So we'll practice that too. Okay, back over here on the left side. By the way, any questions right now about the test or anything I've said so far? Okay. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but I want to walk you through this. So when you go to do the test, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Mrs. C showed me this. I know how to do this. Okay, you want to make sure you find your way around on here. Um, let's see. Okay. Do you see where it says source number 1? In your packet, I know Amber and Anthony have your packet. In your packet, I want you to turn to page 3. At the bottom, it'll say 3. And I want you to circle. Let me just show you on this really quick so you can see it. On page 3, it should look like this. I want you to circle where it says source number 1 and circle what is an astronaut on your packet. And Genevieve, you can do it later when you get home. Okay. This section of your packet matches what's online, so you don't have to go online for your homework. But you'll see right here where it says source number 1, what is an astronaut? That's the same thing that's in your packet. Does that make sense, you guys? So I just printed it so you don't have to. So now on your keyword outline, go to that page on your lined paper. I want you to put next to Roman numeral 1, what is an astronaut? And by the way, I know that's 4 words. That's okay for just putting the title. So you're going to put the title of your source next to the Roman numeral. This is the easiest way to organize your stuff. So everything that you find for Roman numeral 1 right here is going to come from this article, What is an Astronaut? Okay, so let me go back to the test so that Genevieve can see it too. By the way, on your test, there's lots of tools I'm going to talk to you about next week, but one of them is right here, this left and right arrow. If I click the right arrow, it kind of gets rid of the questions temporarily so I can see the article better. Okay, now it's a little easier for me to read. It fills up the screen here. So it basically says, and you guys can follow along in your packet or on the screen. Have you ever thought about what it is like in space? Astronauts are people who go out into space. Being an astronaut is an exciting job. Astronauts who see Earth from space say that it is round like a ball. While in space, astronauts can look down and see clouds, land, and water. Some can even see the moon up close. Astronauts get the chance to see more stars than you or I have ever seen. That's the first paragraph. So remember, you're talking about that it's hard to be an astronaut. Well, you're talking about what it's like to be an astronaut, basically. So that it's hard, but that it's also what it's about, what it's like. So in your packet, if you think that anything is interesting from that first paragraph, you can underline it. Your goal is 5 facts for your outline. You might underline 10, and that's okay. Then you're going to have to pick your 5 favorites from your 10 that you underlined. So it's hard to know which one to pick right away. But your goal is 5 facts, and you want to read the whole article. So there's a lot more to read. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. But since Amber and Anthony have your packets, you can underline as we go the things that you think are interesting about what it is like to be an astronaut. Okay. Being an astronaut may be exciting, but it is not an easy job. A person who wants to be an astronaut has to study for years. There are many things an astronaut must learn to do before going into space for the first time. Astronauts train for hundreds of hours. During their training, they learn about space. This type of training might include studying the stars and Earth. By the way, I'm on the next page if you're in the packet, so I'm on page 4. It is important that astronauts study space so that they understand what they will work with while in space. The astronauts also learn medical skills like basic first aid training during their training. This training allows them to treat simple medical problems so that they can keep each other healthy and safe in space. In their training, astronauts also learn what life is like on the International Space Station, ISS. The ISS is a large spacecraft that orbits the Earth. The ISS is a place where astronauts do science experiments while in space. Astronauts also learn to eat, exercise, and do experiments while floating in the air. They also practice riding in special vehicles that are just for space. These vehicles bring supplies like food and fuel to the ISS. The vehicles are about the size of a pickup truck with 12 wheels. Astronauts even take classes in scuba diving. When they're walking underwater in their scuba suits, astronauts feel the same as they would feel walking in space. Lastly, astronauts must also learn how to work together as a team. This is important because as many as 8 astronauts may be in one spacecraft. These astronauts have to learn how to live and work together in a space. All right, so hopefully Amber and Anthony, you've had some time to underline some things. There's more to read. And it's okay if you underline more than 5 facts. But your goal and ultimately is 5, so you might have to pick and choose your favorites from there. So I'm going to finish reading the article. But Genevieve, when your mom prints it later, make sure to read it again and find the facts that you want to put in your paragraph. So we're going to split this assignment up as homework assignment. You're just going to do 1 paragraph this week. But on the test, it's going to be 3. But for the practice, we're going to split it up. We're going to do 1 this week and then 2 more next week. Okay? All right. So let me keep reading. Each astronaut has a special job to do as part of the team. Some astronauts learn how to put things together so they become good at fixing things. This is important because some if something on a spaceship breaks, the astronauts must be able to fix it themselves. Some astronauts are pilots who know how to fly airplanes. These astronauts have to study how to fly and steer a spaceship. They train for many hours to learn how to turn it, how to make it go faster and slower, and how to guide it through space. Some astronauts are leaders and are in charge of all of the people on the ship. They make sure that everybody is doing the right job. Other astronauts learn mostly about science. Their job is to learn how to let living things change when they are in space. Although each astronaut has a special job on the team, each of them has to learn how to work where there is no gravity. When they are in a spaceship that is moving around Earth, they can feel as though they do not weigh anything. They are able to float. Many astronauts say that it is fun to float around the inside of a spaceship. Objects in the spaceship can also float, so astronauts can lift and move heavy things easily. Feeling weightless is fun, but being in space is work for astronauts. Astronauts must be healthy and eat right. They have to exercise and be in good shape. Astronauts have many adventures, but they work hard too. And then you'll see there's a definition about scuba diving, swimming underwater with a special suit or air tank and fins. All right, so that is the first source. That wasn't so bad. And as you're underlining, and maybe you have more than five, I want you to look back and pick your five favorites of what you underlined. And let's double check what they want you to write about for your outline here, for your essay. It's talking about being an astronaut. So you're going to decide to write an informational article on astronauts. So you're looking for, it says use more than one source and develop the main idea about being an astronaut. So basically your subject is being an astronaut. All right, so Amber and Anthony, did you guys get to underline some stuff? Yeah, kind of, sort of. And you can go back and underline more if you want to go back. You're like, oh, wait, I like this better. Go back, underline that. Next week, I will show you how to actually underline and highlight stuff on the test itself because you won't be able to have a copy, a paper copy. It's going to only be on the computer. How about you, Anthony? Did you get to underline some stuff from the article? Okay, good. So, and I know Genevieve, you're kind of moving around and stuff. You'll have to do this later, but I'm going to give Amber and Anthony, because we have a few minutes left in class, go ahead and start writing out your keywords, 3 keywords. You can use numbers, symbols, abbreviations. Make sure you're really picky about what you choose. I would not just put being an astronaut is hard. You want to put as many interesting details about what it is to be an astronaut, like really specific things here, okay? So I'm going to give you a few minutes, but I'm here if you have questions about that. Genevieve, it looks like you guys are moving around somewhere. So
Yeah, we're at Costco.
you're at Costco. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you so you can go because we're almost done here. Your homework is to print that packet when you get home and read the first article about what is an astronaut, and you're just going to fill in this and write
Okay.
one paragraph, okay? And when you write your paragraph, make sure you use your checklist, and you'll have to watch this video again so you can get all this written down, okay?
The first packet?
Yeah, the packet that I emailed your mom, it looks like this. It says Smarter Balanced at the top. This is the packet you're going to print. and you're going to write about what is an astronaut. So this is your assignment. It's just one paragraph. So try to do that before next week, okay? I'm going to let you go so you can shop at Costco.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, Genevieve. Okay, what do you guys have so far on your outline? How about Anthony? What do you have next to one, or do you have anything yet?
I have astronauts train a 100 with an S for like 100. Like, yeah,
100?
like hundreds.
Yeah.
And then hours.
Nice. I like that. That's a good one. How about you, Amber? Do you have one down yet?
Yeah, study years, and instead of putting like the Earth and stars, would that be like astronomy?
Oh,
Or
yeah. Yeah. That could be astronomy. And then you might explain what that is in your paragraph, like the study of Earth and stars. That would work.
okay, yeah.
I like that. So that's a good point, though. You guys are going to make sure to include your 5 details, but you're going to add extra sentences in your paragraph too. So you can add your own sentences in there and make sure when you do write your paragraph that you just put check marks under the one because you're only focusing on the first paragraph this week. But try your best to get all your dress ups in there. Since we're practicing for the test, you do not have to underline your dress ups for this homework because in the actual test you're not going to underline or highlight stuff, okay? This is just for practice. That makes sense to you guys? Okay. All right, well, I'm going to let you go. So your homework, like I said, is the one paragraph. You're going to finish the keyword outline, use your checklist, write one paragraph, and then we'll work on this more next week. So don't lose your packet. I would keep it in your front pocket of your binder with these 2 papers. Don't lose it because we're going to use it again next week. Okie doke. And don't forget about your grammar too. So, all right. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.